Welcome back to another episode of Courting Cinderella here on the Field of 68 Media Network. I have Dan Engelstad, the head coach at Mount St. Mary's, and we are going to be breaking down the Iona Gaels and head coach Rick Pitino's team as they are heading back to the NCAA tournament. And Dan, let me start you with this. When I texted you about this, you said Iona is not a Cinderella. What makes them so good?
Their backcourt is elite. You know, if you're going to win games in March, you got to have a backcourt that can hold up against anybody. And Dennis Jenkins and Walter Clayton, in my mind, can play with any guards that are in that tournament. They're tough. They're relentless. You can tell they're about the right stuff. They play both ways of the court. So I think it's led by their backcourt. But their front court is enormous. You know, they will put 7-footers on guards and feel comfortable with them guarding them. They have Nelly Joseph, who's been in a lot of games and, won big games and not afraid of the moment. And then they have a 7-foot four-man in Shima, who is somebody that can stretch the floor, make threes at a pretty darn high clip and make big ones. He was able to make big ones against us this season. And then they got athletic wings. They don't get tired. They're not overly deep, and I think that would probably be Coach Pitino's biggest hurdle is just their depth isn't great because they've had some injuries, but I think a few guys might be coming back, it looks like. But it's just their size can overwhelm you. They have great guard play. They press for 40 minutes, and you better be ready to handle the basketball. And they have that great blend of inside-out play. So and they have a Hall of Fame coach, so they're going to put you in good position. So it's just it's a really good basketball team that doesn't have many holes.
When I think of Rick Pitino teams, I think of that like 2-2-1 press that we saw out of Louisville when they made that run to the national championship. I think of them trying to force turnovers. I think of them playing that kind of like amorphous defense where you don't really know if it's man, you don't really know if it's zone. Sometimes it's both on different sides of the floor. Sometimes it's both in the same possession. What do we see from them defensively this year?
Yeah, they're going to pick up. You know, like I said, they're going to press you. Not as much zone pressure, a lot of man-to-man pressure, and just try to wear you down. They will be very active. They will try to steal through on passes. So you just got to be able to handle that. I mean, it's going to be from the very beginning. It's going to be on sideline. I mean, so they just try to wear you down. And then so not as much of the zone. I mean, they'll sprinkle in a little bit, but it's more so man-to-man. They're going to switch a lot. And like I said, he feels comfortable with putting bigger forwards on guards because they can move laterally and so it's hard to get stuff in the paint because if you're going to try to beat matchups, they're going to be able to use their size and athleticism to not allow easy post passes in there, and their guards are physical enough where they can hold their own. So, it's a tough out for anybody just because, that defense is relentless and it's hard to get it into the paint.
Hey guys, just a reminder, our sponsor for today's episode is Run Your Pool. They are hosting the Field of 68 Bracket Challenge. This year, they are giving away $1,500 in free prizes. It's all an incentive for you to get on there and find out just how good their platform is. I've been using them for my bracket pools for years. I've used them for Super Bowl squares. I use them for everything that I need to use them for. The biggest survivor pool that I'm in for both NFL and NCAA tournament is by Run Your Pool. So go check them out. The link's below. Tap in. They look like they're probably going to end up on that like 13, 14 seed range, somewhere around there, which means they're going to end up with a top 20 team in the tournament when this bracket gets released here in about 2 hours. So do they have the size, the length, the athleticism? Like, are they going to get kind of overwhelmed when you get to that higher level and maybe some of those bigger, higher major players?
I really don't think so. I mean, we've played high major opponents this year, and I think they can match up size for size. It might be some depth on certain teams that could give them issues, but I do think their guard play can hold up, and I think in the interior, they got 7-footers that are out there stretching the floor, and they got 6'11" guys that are mobile and athletic, and not going to back down. And then their wing play, they very athletic and long. And so, it looked like a couple guys that hadn't played might be getting healthy too, which could help them out a little bit as well.
What is the ideal matchup for them? Is it someone that maybe has a point guard that's a bit turnover prone? Is it a team that's maybe a little bit less athletic? Like, what kind of team do you think they'd be able to take advantage against?
Yeah, any team that doesn't have multiple ball handlers. I think you can't just have one guy that can dribble the basketball. You've got to be able to break the press with multiple guys. You may have to use forward at times to get the release. So just having multiple ball handlers is critical. And then you got to have guys that can guard ball screen. They do run a lot of ball screen, and they run really good actions, but they are able to shoot the mid range as good as anybody that we've played against. Dennis Jenkins is somebody that, when he gets to his 15-foot pull up, it's really good. And those are shots that we in our defense usually want guys to shoot. But Walter Clayton and Jenkins, they make it look easy, and they can make it look effortless as time as their ability to raise up and make tough twos. So, it's going to be interesting to see, how they stack up against, like you said, if they're going to play a top 20 team. But I've got a good feeling those guys are going to be up for a challenge.
One thing we know about Rick Pitino teams is they're always going to be ready to play in March. Dan, I appreciate you jumping on with me. I'll let you go now so you can get back to the pickleball courts.
Thanks, Rob. See you, buddy.